Good morning, everybody, and welcome to PWR today for Friday, April 24th, 2020. My name is Andrew Baydala. I am happy to be joined along with, from the beginning of the show, David Hero. David, how are you?
Good morning, sunshine. How are you?
I'm good. I just finished my morning workout and got a protein shake in, so I'm feeling good.
So you're trying to get over on me is what you're doing by saying you work out in the morning and you eat healthy and all the other. I get it. That's cool, man. Thanks for making me feel like a slug this morning.
Not at all. You know, it's interesting because mine and Dave's friendship is not just about wrestling. We also talk a lot about health and fitness. So I know you do continuously work out. What is your protein of choice?
Oof. Well, I mean, protein like shakes or whatnot. I mean, usually
Protein powder.
I love the All Max brand. That's like my favorite, you know.
Okay.
It just has the least amount of sugars for what I'm trying to do. So yeah, that's always been my go-to is All Max.
Yeah, I'm a big Onnit guy and Ascend, which are both low on sugar, high on proteins, and they have a lot of amino acids. So, three very good brands right there for you. Today, Dave, we're going to talk about Cody, that being Cody Rhodes, files for his Cody Rhodes trademark. Gronk officially finished with the WWE. More details emerge on Vince McMahon and Oliver Luck's XFL lawsuit. We'll get into a little bit of this Dave Meltzer and Ryan Satin back and forth. I don't really like to spend too much time on that stuff. Britt Baker on Talk is Jericho, and Tony Kahn, the owner and I guess the guy who basically founded AEW besides the Bucks and Cody and Kenny Omega, speak on next week's Dynamite. Dave, let's start off here with Cody Rhodes and him filing for his trademark for the Cody Rhodes name. AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes filed the trademark the Cody Rhodes name back on Monday, April 13th, 2020. The filing was for merchandise and general pro wrestling use. What do you make of this?
I'm surprised it took this long. I mean, I know that AEW has their own copyright and trademark legal team. And you know what? Good for Cody. Go get your name. It's your father's name. It's been in the family for decades. And you know what? He deserves to be called Cody Rhodes just because he signed a contract with Vince McMahon saying that, hey, intellectual property, whatever else. But I mean, it's the man's name. It's his birthright. So I'm happy Cody is finally going to go and try and get his name. I honestly believe he will get it back simply because he has a fleet of attorneys behind him right now.
Yeah, I don't really think the attorney thing, and don't get me wrong, it's a great point, and I'm not discrediting that, but I don't think that's going to be the cause of this. I think Vince McMahon and the WWE, they don't need this trademark. They know they don't. I know you never say never, but he's probably not going to go back to WWE within at least the next 5 to 6 years. So I think this is just them giving Cody his ring name, and they should have a long time ago. Maybe that was one last dig at Cody, but I believe this is water under the bridge. I think Cody's going to get the trademark name, and I think it's good that WWE let it go because it shows they don't have as much pettiness as people want to believe that they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a win for everyone involved.
All right, Dave, so now we're going to jump over to Gronk. Rob Gronkowski is officially finished with the WWE.
Thank God.
There have been question marks. No, they don't. But there have been question marks regarding the WWE status of Rob Gronkowski after he confirmed his return to the NFL this week. In paragraph 3 of the Standards Players Contract, it says a player will not play football or engage in activities related to football otherwise than for the club or engage in any activity other than football which may involve a significant risk of personal injury. Gronk's personal agent, Drew Rosenhaus, who represents many NFL superstars, has come out and confirmed that he will be fully honoring the contract, meaning he's done with wrestling for now. Dave, your quick thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, good. I mean, hey, you know what? Gronk is going to Tampa with his boy Tom Brady. They're obviously going to be an immediate contender for the Super Bowl, maybe one of the favorites right now to win. And why would he roll the dice by rolling his ankle defending the 24/7 title? Yeah, I mean, you know what? If Gronk was done with football, he would be in WWE right now. But hey, he has another chance to get a ring with his boy. That's what he's going to do. No one's going to miss Gronk. No one was going to buy a ticket to watch Gronk ever truly wrestle. But you know what? As a wrestling fan, thank God he's done for right now.
Yeah, I enjoyed Gronkowski on WrestleMania 36. I think he played that role perfectly. I think there might have been some inside information, like Damian touched on yesterday's show, that he was going to Tampa. I think WWE might have might have known that, or he might have made that, them aware of it. Gronkowski is going to be a legitimate piece to that Super Bowl run that Tampa is gearing up for, and I can't see him doing anything else with WWE besides maybe a backstage segment where he gets rolled up real quick. Maybe they do it, at the Tampa Bay facility, but this is going to happen sooner rather than later. And I think this can almost guarantee that Rob Gronkowski is off SummerSlam. If Gronkowski had stayed retired, maybe he's at SummerSlam and in a ring. But like you said, I can't see this happening.
No, not at all. And here's the thing, Tom Brady's not going to be for that either. And he's the guy that's going to call the shots.
Oh God, no. And last night was night one of the NFL draft, which that's one of my favorite days of the year. And you could tell the Bucs are all in. Tom Brady wants to win. He wants to win without Belichick, and there's no way Gronkowski does anything regarding WWE in an actual match. But speaking of drafts, Dave, there's been rumors circulating that we over here at PWR, is there a draft looming?
You know what? That's the rumor and innuendo. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of innuendo of a draft coming up. The PWR fantasy draft, which I have yet to win in I think last 5 or 6, maybe 7, 8, 9, 12 years. Who knows? I never win. I always have the best.
Are you going to let a rookie win this one, like myself?
Absolutely not. I will trip you. I will rake your eyes. I will push you from behind. I'll do whatever it takes to win because I always have the best team on paper. You know what I mean?
And that's standard heel tactics, but I'm the bad guy all over social media and all these other outlets. People hate me for something. Oh, yeah.
Dude, you are one of the most hated guys on our show. I don't get it because you're genuinely a great human being. But you know what I think it is? I think it's the glare off your dome. Like Damien's glare isn't nearly as bright as yours, but the glare off of your I think it blinds our viewers, and that's what gets them frustrated.
I am an easy target, and I will leave it at that. But yes. How does this draft work? Give our fans a little bit of an insight. You're going to give me a little bit of insight. How does this work?
Well, what it is I believe it's going to be, we're going to draft 10 guys and girls, and I think there's maybe 4, maybe 6 auxiliary talents, and the key is it's pay-per-view points. So you want to get, I believe it's going to be 6 WWE and 4 AEW just because of the pay-per-view scheduling, I guess it is. And you get points for appearances, points for wins, points. You lose points for losses. You get bonus points for winning titles. You lose points for losing titles. You get bonus points for winning a Money in the Bank or a Royal Rumble or a main event at WrestleMania. It's a lot of stuff. And it's always interesting because you will be forced to cheer for people you thought you would never cheer for, and you'll be forced to boo people that may be one of your favorites. So it's always fun. It's always interesting. Some of the best TV Damien and I have ever done have been through these drafts because it's completely unpredictable, especially when there's somebody you want. And Drew, I know you've done fantasy sports before. When you're ready to draft your player, and right before you, someone takes it, and just
how the worst.
Yeah. So now it's everything is up in the air. You don't know which way you want to go, and it's not always the first, second, or third pick that wins it for you. It's usually that 8th, 9th, or 10th pick.
No, and you're 100% right. That's why I always talk to my father about fantasy football, and we always have a league. And I've played for the past 10 years. I play in numerous leagues. I've won a bunch, but you lose some, you win some. But I always tell him your first 4 picks mean absolutely nothing because everyone's going to have a good first 4 rounds unless somebody gets hurt. It's the later draft rounds that really make up your team and make up whether or not you're going to be a championship contender come playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. So the draft sounds super interesting, and you're right. Your later draft picks, even in real life in the NFL, those are the ones that you really want to hone in on.
Exactly. So it'll be a lot of fun. I believe it's going to be coming up very soon, and it's going to make for some great TV, and it's great fan interaction as well.
I can't wait. I'm excited. I thank you guys for letting me be a part of that. Tony Kahn spoke on next week's Dynamite. Tony Kahn, who was a very busy couple of weeks ahead of him with the NFL draft and running AEW, had this to say about next week's show. Thank you, great AEW fans, for watching AEW Dynamite last night. I enjoyed producing this week's show. I thought it was a great show. I think next week's show has the chance to be very special. I think it will be the best episode of wrestling TV anyone's done in months, to say the least, Tony Kahn wrote. Tony Kahn wrote this on Thursday morning. So the following matches were announced Wednesday night. early Thursday morning was Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin for the TNT title tournament match. Dustin Rhodes versus Lance Archer for the TNT title tournament match. And I wonder if there's going to be another stipulation with Dustin if they're going to drag this on like the Ric Flair stuff. Brody Lee versus Marco Stunt. The Best Friends versus Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc in a no DQ match. And AEW World Champion Jon Moxley will appear. Dave, on paper, does this really seem like the best wrestling show in months?
I think maybe not on paper, but as far as emotion, because now you're getting towards the finals of that TNT title tournament. And I think it's going to be interesting if it's going to eventually be Cody getting to Lance Archer finally getting to Cody. But you know what? I mean, it's what they need to do. It's what they need to create the fact. They need to create the illusion that it is going to be the best TV, because they want, if you tell somebody enough it's going to be the best TV, the people are going to believe it. Oh yeah, this is going to be a great show tonight.
I know, but this happens a lot with owners and promoters where ECW used to make a living off of this, but you can't keep saying this is going to be the greatest. The WWE's done it a bunch of times too. The greatest sports spectacular of all time. This is the best WrestleMania, et cetera, et cetera. Once you start hammering that into the ground, it kind of loses its luster. I do think this card with live action has the potential for a lot of emotion. I want to see what Jon Moxley has to say, and I'm also interested if we're going to see another. Well, if I retire or if I lose to Lance Archer, brother, I'm going to retire from Dustin Rhodes, who I honestly think, I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I think he's going to win this match. I think Cody is going to either play a factor or Lance Archer is going to get disqualified. I think Dustin goes to the finals. Your thoughts?
So then Dustin in the finals against who? You know what I mean?
Maybe Darby Allin, maybe his brother Cody Rhodes. And then maybe Lance Archer costs Cody the title match. I really think Darby Allin's going to win that match. I'll just go out and say it. I think Archer and Cody, because I can't say Rhodes, are going to fight at Double or Nothing. I think that's the match everybody wants to see.
Yeah, and you know what? It could be the point where Archer just destroys Dustin, and then it's Cody's way of getting back by helping Darby defeat Lance Archer. But who knows? I mean, AEW, right now they need to do something creative. I mean, not that their show is bad. It's just, everyone bases everything off of the ratings. That's what they're going to go off of. And they want to have a real strong week. They want to have a dominating week over NXT.
Yeah. And you know what? I think last week's episode, or 2 nights ago's episode, was fantastic. There were spots, obviously, where I was left confused, but that's professional wrestling. I don't understand Brody Lee versus Marco Stunt. I have immense amount of respect for Marco Stunt, but he was fed to Lance Archer one week and now Brody Lee, and I understand they're going to make the big man look super powerful, but is Marco Stunt's gimmick going to run dry here quick with all this beatdowns?
I don't think so, because he is always going to be the underdog. He's always going to be the guy you want to cheer for, much like Spike Dudley. You could beat him up every week, and the fans were like, oh my God, he is one tough SOB. And he always comes back.
Yeah, it's a very good comparison. I remember always liking Spike in ECW, and then when he came to WWE, he used to the Bulldog DDT off the rope was fantastic, So I see what you're saying there, and you know what? I guess time will tell. More on AEW here. Britt Baker spoke to Chris Jericho on Talk Is Jericho and explained everything that happened when she was on a WWE NXT pay-per-view. Baker is currently one of the top stars in AEW's women's division, but she made some news outside of AEW's programming when she was caught on camera at NXT TakeOver War Games in 2019. She talked about when she was caught on camera sitting near to Stephanie McMahon at NXT TakeOver 25, which took place in Connecticut. The two went into it. She spoke about how Tony Khan gave her the blessing and told her to stop asking if she could go because she was supporting her boyfriend. Dave, much to do about nothing, in my opinion, but what are your thoughts on this?
You know what? It's a different time. Put it this way. If this was the real Monday Night Wars, you would never see somebody's girlfriend or wife sitting in the crowd of the opposing company.
Do you think that's still the case, though, with Tony Khan being in charge of AEW? I agree. If Bischoff was back here and, Vince was running WWF, which he still is in WWE at the time, do you think maybe Tony Khan might be that, that dark horse that really doesn't mind?
No, he doesn't mind because it's good buzz. It's people saying, hey, look, there's Britt Baker. Oh, she's with AEW. Oh yeah. What is that now? Oh, that's a new, it's just buzz, and you know what? It just goes to show how little at the time WWE thought of AEW, because they know Britt Baker was signed by them, and for them to put her on, but also it was a way of saying, hey, look, one of their top stars is actually sitting in our stands.
Well, they did
You know
touch
what I
on
mean?
that. They did touch on that,
Yeah.
Dave. Britt said that that she talked to management and that they put her behind the announce table so that she wouldn't be shown on television, et cetera, et cetera. That was for War Games. But when the spot happened, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon apologized profusely to her, saying, hope it didn't cost you anything or whatever in your career with AEW. And maybe there's a little bit of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge there, because maybe if Britt was released from AEW, then WWE could sign her. I don't really think that's the case here. I think this is just WWE realistically did them a favor, them being AEW and Britt Baker. I mean, they put them on their pay-per-view, or put her on their pay-per-view, and it got the most publicity.
Right. And, to be honest, at the end of the day, it's been a very slow couple, the last 2 weeks have been slow news weeks. So this is obviously something for people to talk about. It's really a non-factor because I'm telling you, by the end of next week, tomorrow, this will all be forgotten about.
Yeah, I think it's only being brought up because two good points. One, it is a very slow news week besides the NFL draft and PWR's draft. And two, because, she was on Talk is Jericho. But this happened a year ago. Don't get me wrong. I wrote the show and I put this in here, but there's really nothing else to talk about. So this was something that we needed to get in, and we did. And I think it's a non-issue. Speaking of slow news weeks, Dave Meltzer and Ryan Satin took to Twitter and had a back and forth about Kenny Omega. I'm just going to give you the cliff notes here. Satin said that Eagles an enhancement talent who isn't signed to AEW kicked out of the V-Trigger. That shouldn't be happening. Meltzer fired back saying you don't understand the business. World champions like Flair, Hennig, Buddy Rose, Ray Stevens all did this. And Satin just basically said, you think that match helps Kenny's star power. What do you make of this? I think this is really a non-issue. I mean, I thought the match went entirely too long, but I give Kenny Omega a lot of props for what he did. He basically didn't squash a guy that didn't need to be squashed because Kenny's already a star.
It's interesting because we talk about people kicking out of a finishers and in quote-unquote enhancement talent. Well, what's the difference of a guy no one has ever heard of kicks out of one finish as opposed to someone that's signed to a contract kicks out of 5 or 6 in the same match? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think what Kenny Omega did was a nod to this guy saying, hey, we know it's a really weird time. You are risking a lot by coming here and working with us, and we appreciate it. Let me give you something to show my appreciation for not only putting me over, but putting me over when there's so much uncertainty as to what's going on right now, in the world of wrestling. So I'm like, for me, if you look at the big picture, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
I understand.
That's a fantastic point because you're a promoter. So basically, Kenny Omega's sitting here saying, thanks for making the trip. Thanks for coming out here, putting your body and your health on the line. And I'm going to show you a little bit of gratitude because Kenny Omega could stop wrestling for AEW tomorrow and he's going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars elsewhere.
But here's the other thing regarding Kenny Omega. He's been stuck in neutral for how long in AEW? So by him crushing this guy, giving him nothing, does it really elevate him anymore? No, he beat a guy he's supposed to beat. So instead, he lets this guy kick out of the V trigger. Big deal. You know what we're doing now? We're talking about Kenny Omega today, where we wouldn't be talking about him otherwise if he would have just beat this guy without anything.
Very good point. And if this is again is a non-issue. Kenny Omega did what I thought was the nice thing to do. He didn't have to, and he did it. And the squash matches really aren't happening that often. I know they might be happening on WWE's television right now for Monday Night Raw because they have 3 hours of television, but they're also using local talent. So we're just going to move on from this one. Dave, I'm going to get this in real quick because we only have a little bit of time left because we want fans to get their day started and not stuck here for 45 minutes. But more details emerge on Vince McMahon and Oliver Luck's XFL lawsuit. Basically, what happened was that Oliver Luck left his NCAA Executive Vice President of Regulatory Affairs position to join the XFL. And Vince McMahon had guaranteed Oliver Luck the money he was owed when he signed him to be the league's commissioner. It was not contingent on the XFL surviving. So we have a lawsuit here. And I touched with this on Damian Nelson. I gave my points and views on this one yesterday. Dave, 30 seconds or less. What do you got for this one?
You know what? If you signed a contract, if it's guaranteed, pay him. I mean,
he doesn't even need 30 seconds. He's 100% right.
Yeah.
Pay the man, right?
Yeah. Or work out something, but just don't walk away and pretend like it didn't happen.
I agree. Dave, where can everybody follow you on Twitter?
You know what? Twitter, it's at David Hero, Herro. It's 2 R's, not 1. or on Instagram at the David Hero. So yeah, you can always find me there. There's always nonsense and shenanigans somewhere.
And your son, where can we follow him at?
Oh, you can follow Cal on both at the Cal Hero. Cal with a K, like named after Superman, Kal-El.
Well, there you go. We're a little bit into overtime here. We're at 20 minutes and 5 seconds, but you can follow me at Ticket Drew on Twitter. You could follow the rest of the PWR crew at PWR360 now on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter, you could follow us at PWR360. The website for all your professional wrestling needs and podcasts is www.pwr360.com. Please take time out of your busy day to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. We are on Apple, Spotify, and Podbean, and trust me, we do appreciate you starting your morning with us every morning, Monday through Friday. My name is Andrew Baydala. He is the man they call David Hero, and
exactly.
this has been PWR Today.